Let's jump right into the S26 Plus, which we were going to see the Edge phone, but it looks like they're not going that way, and they're going to come out with the Plus instead. We'll kind of go through some specs real quick as they've been slightly adjusted as time has gone on because new rumors have come up. But that 6.7-inch WQHD display, 120 hertz display at that. 12 gigs of RAM, doesn't matter which one you get, 256 or 512 gigs of storage with the Qualcomm Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5 or the Exynos 2600. Depends where you live, depending upon which one you would end up getting, so just keep that in mind. America would most likely get the Snapdragon variant, but if you live somewhere else like Europe, you'll probably get the Exynos. Main camera is the 50 megapixel ISOCELL GN3 main camera, telephoto at 12 megapixels with 3x optical, ultra wide camera is 12 megapixel still, and the selfie is 12 megapixel as well. 4900 milliamp battery, the same, and then the same 45 watt charging, but updated 20 watt wireless. So a little bit faster, and it should have magnets in the back of that. Now, the bigger story of this is a new trifold concept from Ice Universe. He put this on Weibo, and the design imagines a trifold that folds in a Z shape, actually has two functional cover screens, which is quite interesting, and one on each side of the surface. One looks like the traditional outer display we've used on the Galaxy Z Fold, while the other would be a larger second panel. It's actually, I think it looks really cool. It's a striking idea, but the article points out that it would come with big durability challenges since both sides would rely on foldable display material rather than a solid cover glass. So will this ever come to light of day? I don't know about that. The piece also mentions that the first generation Galaxy Z Trifold is rumored to launch on December 5th, which we've heard, with a 6.5-inch outer display and 10-inch inner display. Availability would reportedly be limited at first with a wider rollout, including the US, coming early next year. The dual cover design isn't expected right away, but it isn't positioned. But it is instead positioned as something Samsung would explore once the trifold lineup matures. So the look of this phone, again, potentially might come out. It's not a no on it, and it's something that they would need to mature a little bit in order to get the build quality and the reliability of the physical device in order before they actually put it out. But that's a big old display in terms of like that cover looking display. That is seriously, that's really interesting to me, what that would be like. It's almost like that really looks like an iPad mini, which is really cool to me, to have a really powerful Galaxy Z Fold phone like that. That's pretty nice. iPhone Fold is looking, based off the latest rumors, it's going to have a feature that basically no other foldable phone has yet. It would be basically one of the first, potentially, maybe not by the time it comes out, but that feature is, it could be the first foldable, being called iPhone Fold, from Apple, claiming it would be the first crease-free foldable display. That's right, it would not have any crease in the display. The thing that goes down here in the middle, that would be completely gone. It reportedly uses a new reinforced hinge tension system to completely eliminate the visual crease. Apple is said to be working with LG Display and Samsung Display on a custom OLED display panel. It's expected to feature a thin, lightweight chassis, prioritizing portability. Opens like a tablet-like experience, similar to the Galaxy Z Fold 7. Release window is probably in the timeline of 2026 or 2027. Prices are most likely going to be over $2,000. You got to think on this stuff. Like, if they're coming out with this in 2026, 2027, are we going to end up seeing this probably on a Chinese, I would guess, a Chinese manufactured foldable phone will have it before they even do. Maybe they won't, but it also makes sense why they're potentially delaying this a little bit. The Apple always, when they do something, they kind of like to do it a little bit later. When they do it a little bit later, they kind of like to do it a little bit better than other companies. And it may not be everything is better, but like that one thing, maybe it's the crease. But I can also see them doing other things as well that other companies haven't done, or they just haven't fully perfected yet. That's what Apple tends to do on their devices. And I think that's probably why we're seeing a little bit of delay on this. So maybe it'll be the way it's constructed, not even just with the crease and the hinge, but like it's just basically an indestructible, just as indestructible as a traditional slab phone. So there's some things that I think will end up popping out about this that are really going to wow people. And I'm so looking forward to this. It should really catapult the foldable game even further with people knowing about it. Because I mean, I can still go out in public and people are like, whoa, what is that? I haven't seen that before. It doesn't happen as much lately, I'll be honest with you. When I'm in public, I don't see a lot of people, even though I have my phone usually completely open. I don't have a ton of people still coming up to me saying, what phone is that? Oh, I've never seen that before. That's cool. Once in a while, but not as much as like, say, 2 years ago. 2 years ago and longer, it was way more prevalent, especially when I'd go to a store and, take my phone out. People would be like, oh my God, what is that? So we'll see though. Man, it seems like every day this week we've been getting new iPhone Fold information. And we know some stuff about this. We know that it's going to have a 7.4-inch main display. We know some of the building materials as well, which we'll go in a minute. Price has been kind of like, what is the price going to be? Huh? You kids know what this means, right? It's crazy because you have the Galaxy Z Fold 7, and we have other foldables as well. And basically, more or less, they're around $2,000. Now, sometimes you get it for $1,700, $1,800. Obviously, you can get them less with trade-ins down to like $1,000 or so, or deals going on, whatever. You can get it further away from that $2,000 price and closer to $1,500 or even $1,000. The thing you got to remember is Apple generally doesn't have very good trade-in offers. Through the carriers, they do. Through a carrier, you can usually upgrade every year or two to an iPhone for either free or much reduced rate on your monthly cost. But if you're buying it directly through them, generally the trade-ins are terrible. So Apple's first foldable iPhone is expected to start around $2,400, making it the most expensive iPhone ever. And the price of $2,400 is, what is that, like $500 more than the Galaxy Z Fold 7, the starting price. And it's like $600 more than the Pixel price. Also, if you factor in, being able to buy this directly either through Samsung or even Google, like I said, you can get this for as low as like $1,000 sometimes with trade-ins and offers and all that stuff. And sometimes you even get free trade-in gifts, especially with both of those, especially when you're pre-ordering. I know like when you pre-order the Pixel, they were giving like, I think $300 in free gifts, and Samsung was giving free stuff as well, or reduced rates on stuff. Apple generally doesn't do that. The price jump for the iPhone Fold is tied to their larger inner foldable OLED display, rumored to be closer to a tablet size. Now, when you say tablet, we're talking iPad mini, so don't get like your thoughts up into an 11-inch tablet phone. It's not. Apple is reportedly using a custom hinge, which we've spoken about, reinforced design, adding more major manufacturing costs, and also, like I spoke about yesterday, it's supposed to be the first creaseless, no crease in that main display. The phone may include titanium or other premium materials, similar to Pro and Ultra models, which I would think they would do that. I don't think they're going to put something out that half crap. Limited early production, low yield rates could drive up pricing due to supply chain challenges, and Apple may position it as a luxury Ultra product aimed at early adopters rather than the mainstream. And that wouldn't surprise me if they did something like that. And the reason I think that is when they released the Apple Vision Pro, that was $3,500 to start off. And then if you got up in higher storage ranges, it's over $4,000. It's like basically $4,000 then with tax. It definitely is over $4,000. This phone at $2,400, I would guess it's probably going to be 256 gigs of storage. The next size up will probably be 2,600 and then 2,800 for the 1 terabyte, or even 3,000, who knows. At that point, even with tax at 2,400, here in California, that's like over $2,600 for the phone to pay out of your pocket. If you're getting one of the other models, if they even come out with other storage models, it's over $3,000. And this is a phone they're probably going to upgrade, I would assume, every single year. Maybe it'll be every 2 years, but I would assume it's probably going to be an every year upgrade for the iPhone Fold. And there's rumors of RAM prices going up with devices, which is crazy. Processors are more expensive than ever. Display materials are more expensive than ever. This probably makes sense. The other question I would have on this is Google and or Samsung going to be excited by this and say, ooh, people are buying this $2,400 folding phone. Why don't we charge $2,400 and we'll make it, a little bit better, but we're going to charge more. I hope they don't. I don't think they'll go that route based off what they did with their headset that competes against the Galaxy XR headset, which competes against Apple Vision Pro. It's literally half the price of the Apple Vision Pro. A lot to take in here, and it seems legit. I can see them going $2,400 on this. So is all about the Galaxy S26 Ultra. Galaxy S26 Ultra, the bezel might look actually bigger. That's the part that goes around the phone on this, which this one's either dead or off. So the part that goes all the way around the phone seems like it potentially be bigger. That reason we think this is because Ice Universe is saying that the Galaxy S26 Ultra black version features a black frame, not the lighter silver, so the overall visual bezel will be inevitably wider, which I don't know if I care. I mean, is it gonna be a big deal? Is it gonna be that much? I doubt it. I don't think it's gonna look like what you can see with like a Google Pixel 10 Pro Fold, where it's got that like big circular bezel that goes like around the phone. I don't think it's gonna be something like that, but it might seem a little bit thicker around the phone on the Galaxy S26 Ultra. I'm honestly not that concerned with it. I have a case on my phone regardless, and the case sometimes blocks some of that stuff anyway, or it even adds into it, so I'm not that concerned with it. And even still, is it going to be that big a difference where it's going to be an eyesore? I highly doubt it, but who knows? Next up is really exciting stuff. Galaxy S25 Ultra. If you've been wanting to try One UI 8.5, it is right around the corner, guys. Check this out. So, from Tyrone Vats, who's got an amazing track record with software releases, is hearing the same from his sources that One UI 8.5 Beta 2, even not Beta 1, but he talks about it in here, Beta 2 is expected to be December 22nd release. Beta 3 around January 5th. Beta 1, December 8th, guys. That's like 2 weeks away. No, less than 2, is it 4? Yeah, but less than 2 weeks away, we should have the beta out for our phones. Phase 2 users may get 8.5 on December 22nd, but Phase 1 is US, UK, Korea, and Germany. Germany kind of surprises me. Explain that one. That's not a big country. Germany? It's just kind of weird to me. Well, whatever. It seems like it's always there. Phase 2 would be India and Poland. But yeah, so you're looking at, if you're in the US like me, or UK, Korea, or Germany, December 8th will be 8.5 beta. I will definitely download it on that phone without a doubt. And then otherwise, it would be December 22nd in a couple of other countries. And then beyond and there and so on and so forth, we'll get different betas as time goes on. But this is great stuff. And speaking of 8.5, some of the AI features that are going to be in there are the following. They're going to have Now Nudges, which is a Galaxy AI-powered tool that can read what's on the screen and suggest contextual actions. For example, jumping from a location in a message to a map app, or trigger translation when viewing foreign language text. They've got Recall Important Info. This one's kind of interesting, where it will reference your past chats, screenshots, etc., and surface relevant info when needed. Example would be pulling up a previous address, link, or detail without you needing to hunt for it manually. We'll see how that works. I'm kind of curious, but just recalling information when it's needed is pretty awesome. Smart autofill for forms. The OS may learn info you've entered previously, name, address, travel info, and offer to autofill forms, bookings, registrations automatically. I mean, Chrome already does that for me, kind of. But if it's not within Chrome and it's within apps, I love that. On the flip side, it is an early beta build, so they've actually removed and disabled some features such as single take and dual recording and the camera app. The leaked AI features appear in the firmware, but reportedly aren't functional yet. So some of the things I mentioned might not be fully functional when we get it as a beta next month. But ultimately, some of that stuff's kind of interesting. That's what all this stuff is about nowadays. I mean, these phones are so powerful and useful that, AI and software alone are the big selling points. It's not always a sexy thing, but it's something you use every single day. I say it all the time. People get lost up in the hardware specs, and there's a reason that Apple doesn't really talk about their hardware specs. They do a little bit with the processor, but they're not saying, oh, we threw in 12 gigs of RAM on this time around and our display is 4K. They usually don't say that stuff. They just say it's this kind of display. It's great looking. The colors are great. It's powerful. The cameras are great. They just throw those things in there. And Samsung's kind of doing the same thing at this point, but with software. Today is all about the Samsung Galaxy Z Trifold phone and some reportedly new information coming out about this device. And it is not as expensive as we thought it was going to be. It is not $3,000. It's actually quite a few $100s less than $300, at least reportedly from what we're hearing. Remember, December 5th should be the unveiling of this device. You might even be able to go into the store and grab it at that point as well. And it should be available reportedly again in China, South Korea, USA, and UAE. Now, the information coming out is that this Galaxy Z Trifold will only have one version, one color. So if you don't like the color and you don't like the storage amounts, you're SOL. Looking like 16 gigs of RAM, which is great. They're the highest on any of their phones, or they're at least tied for it. 512 gigs of storage. They have 1 terabyte on other phones, but this one's only 512 gigabytes. One color option, like I mentioned. Now, price of this is reportedly $24.99, $2,500 for this. That's about $500 less than we were expecting. And it's also about $300 less than the Huawei trifolding phone, which again, awesome. It looks like they're really being aggressive with their pricing on their newer devices, have it been the XR headset and this trifolding phone against their competition. They weren't the first to release some of these products, but damn sure they're going to be the most inexpensive, at least bottle for bottle and apple for apple with that. Now, some extra information on here is that with the trifolding phone, in-person orders open on this coming really soon. Demo units are going to be available on December 1st or 2nd, only to those who reserve it. Also, customers will receive it on December 5th. Price of this, like I said, $2,500. Samsung unlocked exclusive, so it looks like you'll only be able to get unlocked. One configuration, one color. There's a lot to take a hold of this. Now, in America, we have not heard anything about this, obviously. So the information he's providing is based off of Korea. Korea looks like they're going to have early demo units available, and then you can grab your phone on December 5th. Is it going to come out December 5th here? Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. Hopefully it still does. The price is so good. I mean, sure, $2,500 is a lot, don't get me wrong. But for a device like the folding phone, which at the end of the day is basically like $2,000, if not more, depending upon what storage unit you get, you can get this for a few $100 more, $500 more if you want to call it more than a few. I know it's a lot, but $2,000 versus $2,500 for a brand new design of a phone and a device that has basically 3 displays or 3 folds, whatever you want to call it. So cool, so awesome, very competitive. And it's not one of those prices that immediately turns you off either. It's like one of those prices you're like, you know what, maybe I will try that. So the concerns I have with this are, is it going to come out in America? Because that's where I live and a lot of you guys live. Is it really going to be $2,500 where I live? And the fragility of it, are they going to give us free insurance with it, or is the insurance going to be outrageously expensive if we have to get it? I would definitely recommend if you're able to buy this, get insurance with it. There's just too many variables with this, might break, so many moving parts with it. December 5th is literally next week. We're a week away from it. And it's one of those devices I don't want to spend that much, but I want it. And I will, if it's available for pre-order that day or nearby in the USA, I think I'm going to try to get it. Not really a big surprise, but I love going on to Reddit, different forums to get ideas to make videos. And I saw a post from somebody saying, selling my iPhone 17 Pro Max, coming back to the Galaxy Z Fold 7 full time. And I wanted to see what they said. And I've got to admit, I basically agree with them in every way they've dedicated this post of thoughts. And I think it's, sometimes I think I'm the only one that feels a certain way about a device. I know there's other people, but this really just adds roots to that and gives me some confidence, not only behind what I think and knowing that other people also feel the same way. So basically what he says is saying that the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold in general is better built hardware than Apple. Apple's marketing is elite, which I totally agree. Apple's marketing is amazing. I sometimes I'll be watching a commercial if it pops up, which I don't watch a lot of television, and I'll be watching it. I was like, this is kind of interesting. And then at the end, it's like iPhone, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you got me again. Marketing is really, really good. But Samsung's hardware quality is simply higher. I've had my Galaxy Z Fold 7 since July, and it's been fantastic. I recently picked up an iPhone 17 Pro to run dual phones for cameras. iMessage, FaceTime were the only reasons. After using both, I significantly prefer the Fold 7 over the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Now, I want to go back to his saying that the hardware quality is simply better. This is probably one way I might not fully agree with it. I actually think both companies make really great quality. And I don't even know so much if I'd pick one over the other in terms of the quality that you get. They both just feel different, but they both feel premium. But I wanted to throw that in. It's close enough to where I can see somebody saying, yeah, this company makes better quality, or this company makes better quality out of these two companies. But saying one definitely makes better quality, especially at the top tier level, I don't know about that. I'll start off on the camera comparison, saying shockingly, the main cameras produce nearly identical results. Ultra wide 3x zoom on the Fold 7 holds up extremely well against the iPhone's ultra wide and 4x. Even when pixel peeping, quality is nearly identical. Impressive considering the iPhone has better camera hardware on paper. He's saying Samsung's computational photography is doing heavy lifting. The Fold's worse hardware still matches Apple's results in most situations. He says that the big problem with the iPhone is every photo has a yellow tint. Every one, and it's noticeable even when viewed on a Fold 7. I want to dive into that because that's actually one of the major reasons I don't like their camera. I don't hate their camera, but there's something about the coloring of their videos and photos that I just don't really like. Sometimes I'll watch someone else's video and I'll be like, oh, that looks good. But when I have an iPhone and I use it for videos, I've got to admit it's usually a little bit too dark for my liking. Pixel's kind of like that right now too, or it's a little bit too dark for my liking. One of the things I like about Galaxy cameras for videos and photos is that they're a little bit more blue. And that's what I lean more rather than like a yellowish type look, a sepia type look. Sepia to me is too saturated in the opposite direction of what I don't want saturation at. If you're going to be saturated, I'd rather it be more blue saturated, like deep, rich colors that way. The yellowness that you get on an iPhone display and cameras is just not my style. I'm not saying it's terrible. They do take good photos. They have good displays, all of that. I'm not denying that. What I'm denying is my liking of that stuff. He also talks about the display, which I kind of just gave it away, but he's saying that the big problem for the iPhone is that every photo has yellow tint, everyone, and which we already said, but the iPhone 17 Pro Max display is also yellow tinted, and it's a panel lottery. Samsung panels look good. BOE LG panels often don't. Tons of complaints online. He's saying, so basically he's saying that depending upon which display you get on an iPhone, you might love it, you might hate it. It's one of the things I've said for years now. When I get an iPhone even if it has the newest, whatever panel that's out there, I still look at a Samsung display that might have a worse panel or an older type panel. And I'm like, I like that better. I like the colors. I like the brightness. I like everything about it better. The iPhone's just the way they manage their displays and cameras is just not my cup of tea, honestly. iPhone 17 Pro Max is honestly a dud for me. Hardware is underwhelming. Photos aren't as good advertised. Display tint ruins the experience. The phone is heavy. Only major win, battery life, which does beat the Fold 7, but his Fold 7 does last a full day. Let me run through a couple of those things. Hardware is underwhelming. That's a tough get because iPhone's super powerful. You're not going to have any real issues with it. So if he's talking hardware, I'm assuming he's talking just like, as we said, like the build quality and stuff. He thinks the build quality is bad. I don't fully agree with that part, but whatever. Photos aren't as good as advertised. I got to admit, I don't always love the videos and photos on an iPhone. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. More often than not, I'd choose a Galaxy. Photos aren't as good as advertised. Again, same thing like I just said. Display tint ruins the experience. Again, I don't really love the displays on there. The phone is heavy. Totally right. You go from an iPhone to a Galaxy Z Fold 7 or an S26 Ultra, it's almost night and day. You're like, what the heck is going on here? Why is this phone so heavy? It's a big difference. Only major win, battery life. I agree. The Fold 7 does not have good battery life. He's saying his lasts a full day. Mine does not get anywhere near that. I've done videos on it. It's one of the weaker points about the phone, but you can always charge it. iPhone keyboard is rough. Years of using it and still makes tons of typos. Gboard is miles ahead better. You can install Gboard on an iPhone, just FYI, but he's kind of right. The typos that you can easily make on an iPhone is kind of annoying. For anyone deciding between the Fold 7 and an iPhone, Fold 7 is the best hardware phone on the market, and the software is solid too. I got to agree on the folding side. Out of all the folding phones I've ever held recently, Fold 7 is probably the top of the mountain. Zero desire to buy the iPhone Fold next year. It'll be $2,500 with no discounts, while Samsung gives you a 1 terabyte Fold 7 for $1,300. He got it for at launch. Samsung's value and quality are unmatched. Honestly, annoyed I wasted money on the iPhone. I'll miss iMessage and FaceTime a bit, but I can still FaceTime from the iPad. The Fold 7, meanwhile, still feels futuristic, continues to impress me even 5 months later. You know, let's talk about it feeling futuristic. It's all about the software. We've got to probably, and me too, I don't help it any, but we really probably got to get out of this hardware race. The phones are already amazing with hardware, and obviously it can always be improved, especially on a gaming experience, but they're so good already. Like, these Fold 7s are ridiculous, guys. They're such amazing devices. The build quality is amazing. They're fast. The software is the hugest thing. Like, they just continually add software and improve software. It's amazing. I love it way more still than an iPhone. But iPhone Fold still really, really intrigues me. I have to admit, I'm going to be curious about that one for sure. But otherwise, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think Galaxy Z Fold 7 makes a much better device than iPhone, especially the 17 Pro Max? Let me know in the comments down below. In some ways, I agree with that. A couple of reasons I don't, or I do think it's equal. So let me know your thoughts. Have a great day. We'll see you down the road. Peace.